stand in the current race. And yet, to my knowledge, neither of them have spoken out substantively about investigating Homan Square, getting an independent investigation team in here, shutting it down until that's done. I mean, there are plenty of police lockups. We're stone's throw from the Harrison District Police Station here. Why do they have to take people to a black site? That's the question that Chewy needs to be asking. That's what all of the opposition aldermanic candidates need to be saying is, why is Rahm Emanuel operating a black site on the west side of Chicago when he could be taking these people to regular district police stations, getting them checked in there, rather than trying to evade the done class action settlement of 2013. That's essentially, I believe, what they're doing here. Chewy has got an opportunity to finally step in front of the news rather than trail the news on this one. He trailed the news with a stupid demand for 1,000 more cops in the city that's already got more cops than most any other city in the nation.
Specifically invited Chewy, and he said no. So I mean, this is an international story, and he can't be bothered to travel to his own, to the west side of his own city that he wants to become mayor of to give his comments on an international story. So that was very disappointing to us, basically.
First of all, Rahm Emanuel, who's the current mayor, has done nothing about this. This has happened on his watch, as well as his predecessor, Richard M. Daley. Emanuel should be made to explain about this, and Emanuel's been evading this. Chewy Garcia, on the other hand, has not dealt with it as far as I know. He's talked about adding 1,000 cops. For most people in this city, especially if you're black or brown and also poor white, the cops aren't our friends. We don't need more cops.
I stand with you wholeheartedly to call for an investigation to the lives that have been tortured by this facility. We hear a lot what goes on in our neighborhood, and in some cases we've stopped marching. We stopped fighting for those that matter. And I'm an alderman that stands for the people that have been forgotten about. It's easy to go in the boardroom to conduct business, but it's hard to be out on the street and fight for the common folk that we forget about, but they make up the majority of this population. In the 24th Ward, 80 to 90% of the African-American men have X's on their background, and they deserve not just a second chance, but another chance, and it's up to us to make sure that they have it.
Less than 2 years ago, in a case called Dunn versus the City of Chicago, the Chicago Police Department, City of Chicago, paid out $16.5 million in a class action precisely designed to stop the sort of practices that have been reported in the building behind us here. Things like handcuffing defendants to the walls of interrogation rooms for hours on end. Things like not charging them for many, many hours and denying them access to their attorneys. Things like not allowing them access to toilet facilities and food. Those were the kind of conditions that the City of Chicago paid out $16.5 million less than 2 years ago. Practices that were and probably still are common in regular Chicago police lockups. So excuse us when we get a little upset when we find out that there's an off-the-books site, which isn't even subject to the kind of monitoring that we saw in the case of the Dunn versus City of Chicago class action lawsuit. Excuse us if we're a little bit upset for a city that just paid out $16.5 million in that one suit, and last year paid out over $50 million for police misconduct in a city that's swimming in red ink. Excuse us if we're a little